Welcome back to Lifestyle Nutrition with Brian Diamond, and today we are going to learn about metabolic adaptation, specifically answering a question a subscriber asked me. She asked me, why do we get stuck at a certain weight even after maintaining diet for so long and being regular to the gym? And she's been at the same weight for about 6 months. In the last video, I put it out day before yesterday, I said that it's because of metabolic adaptation. I gave a hint to metabolic adaptation and said that it's part 1, so this is part 2. So if you want to understand the context of that, I'll add a link to that video down in the description. You can check it out and then come and watch this, or however you want. Now, coming back to metabolic adaptation. Before that, I got to say that today's video might be a little late because I just devoured an entire Domino's pizza. I was in a food coma for a long time, so I'm actually recording this late. Coming back to the video, when your body adapts metabolically to you dieting for so long, to you being in a calorie deficit for so long, and if you don't know what a calorie deficit is, click this card and find out what it is. Now, metabolic adaptation is basically tipping the balance between your calories in versus your calories out. If you don't know what calories are and calories in and calories out, CICO, click on this card to find out what calories mean, and you'll have all of the context to understand this video. Now, your calories in is basically all of the foods you consume, solid or liquid foods, it doesn't matter. And your calories out is your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. And your total daily energy expenditure has 4 components. That's BMR, basal metabolic rate, TEF, thermic effect of food, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, TDEE and its 4 components, I made separate videos about them as well, in case you want to find out. I'll add a link to that playlist here in this card. Click it and find out. Let's come back to metabolic adaptation. So metabolic adaptation is one of 3 prongs of your body's self-defense system. If you don't understand the word 3 prongs, Aquaman, the same way the body has a 3-pronged self-defense system: metabolic adaptation, energy restoration, prevention. I learned all of this from the world's best PhD nutrition scientist, Dr. Lane Norton. Shout out to Dr. Norton if you ever watch this. Thank you so much for the education. This is something that you need to know before moving on with any.
I hate that word.
Let's think of it like this, like a balance. It's all about energy balance. I'm using the word energy, and you can watch that calorie video, you'll understand what energy is. So a calorie deficit is an energy deficit, calorie restriction or energy restriction. So there's 3 parts of metabolic adaptation. One is energy efficiency, the other is energy gap, and the last is hunger. So 3 of these parts make up metabolic adaptation. When your TDEE is more than your input, your food intake, your caloric intake, when your TDEE is more than that, you will lose weight. You have an energy gap. So there's an energy gap. And if your intake is more than your output, which is your total daily energy expenditure, so you will gain weight. And this gap can be called a positive energy balance, and this gap with the TDEE being high can be called a negative energy balance. And that is exactly what you need to be in to lose weight. When you've been dieting for so long, when you've been restricting yourself for so long and following so many diets, especially all these fat diets or diets where you eliminate or omit an entire food group, when you've been following that kind of a diet for so long, what happens is that your body remembers it. So this is something Dr. Norton said, that your body has something called a diet memory. So it understands and remembers that you are putting yourself in such a position and you're starving yourself, and the body does not want to do that. The body's self-defense mechanism kicks in and is like, man, I gotta save this person from starving themselves, optimize myself and become energy efficient. That is part 1. And what does that mean, energy efficient? Let's think of it this way. If you have a car that's really energy efficient, let's say an electric car, and for a little bit of energy, you can do a lot of things.
So that is great.
Because your car can take you so many places, and let's say you're going from Bangalore to Delhi or something by road, and that's amazing. You can drive for so long or even further maybe without having to charge it more than once. So that will be amazing. That is called energy efficiency in terms of cars. But in terms of the human body, that's not a good idea, because
if the body becomes energy efficient,
it means if you eat so much food, your body will be able to do more tasks and burn less energy. So if it's burning less energy, you're not burning more calories. If you're not burning more calories, you're not burning more fat. If you're not burning more fat, you're not losing more weight. So you see that compounding system, how it works? That's how it is. So you don't want that. That's what happens when your body becomes energy efficient. You don't want an energy efficient body. You want a body which spends energy like crazy. So if you're feeding yourself a lot, your body is going to spend more calories. But if you're constantly starving yourself, if you're constantly in a state of then what's going to happen is your body is going to become energy efficient. So that subscriber, what she asked, her body probably became energy efficient because she was dieting for so long. So that's probably what happened. Now part 2, which is energy gap. What happens is when the gap is this big, let's say there's a negative energy balance and the gap is this big from total daily energy expenditure is really high and your intake is really low. So to bridge this gap, your body will tweak all the components of TDEE. If you subscribe to this channel, what you can expect is weekly videos on nutrition, weight loss, tips and tricks on how to attain sustainable weight loss, and also how you can maintain that weight loss once you achieve your goal. So basically your basal metabolic rate, which is 60% of your daily calorie burn, will go down. It's noted to have been at least 30%, and that's crazy. Your BMR will go down, your TEF will go down, and that's because you eat less food. Your NEAT, all these things that I'm doing, that is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, these activities will all go down. And Dr. Norton even said in his videos when he was contest prepping and he went really low on calories, he would even blink slower and talk slower as well. So now when you do this, your body tweaks all of those components of TDEE to bring that gap and to bridge that gap down and bring it back to equilibrium. If your body is energy efficient, it means one, you do a lot of stuff for little energy, then the energy gap is being bridged. So when the energy gap is being bridged, what happens is you don't burn calories anymore. You're back to maintenance hunger. So your hunger hormone is ghrelin, that goes up really high, and your satiety hormone leptin, that goes down low. So this is what happens, and it increases your hunger as well. So you feel hungrier, and this is what happens when you eat a huge meal, and even though you're physically full, you still feel like you want to eat more. That's what your hunger hormone does to you. Ghrelin, remember that, it's kind of like goblin. So that's pretty much it. It's a very complex topic, and the entire series, Why Fail, from Dr. Norton, that I watched and I understood, and I'm kind of making that into a very simplified format because I don't like big words. The word is a bad word, and the way I coach my clients, I told them not to use the word, to refrain from using that word, to call it nutrition or to call it intake, food intake or caloric intake. Then they started seeing more progress and they started losing more weight, because it's all psychological at the end of the day. Think about it. When you were a kid, no one told you about the word. That's not something that you would want to be on, and frankly, no one wants to get on a diet. Everybody wants to enjoy the foods they like. They want to eat the foods they want to eat, not that some is telling them to eat. So just remember that. If you made it to this part in the video, put down in the comments if you've ever experienced this, if you've ever been stuck at a certain weight whenever you attempted a weight loss phase, and also if you felt frustrated because of that, because you didn't know what to do. Put it down in the comments if you have ever felt that way, and if you would like to try again now that you know what metabolic adaptation is. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.